Hey, good evening. Welcome to Foreigner in the Philippines. This is an update on our visit to Cebu. Well, a lot of you will already know that we had a terrific time because we arranged to meet with Bing and Roger from Bingley Travel in the Philippines. So we arranged, that's the travel agency that has been very kind to us, and they invited us, and they've become friends, and they invited us to come and stay with them at the waterfront hotel so that we could pretend that we were very rich for a night at least. So we went there, wonderful, and that's Bingley Travel in the Philippines. So go have a look at them. They have a website, or they have a channel which they are working on, and they do quite a bit of travel in the US, and they've been doing some interesting videos about their travels in the US, and these are two very experienced travelers, and they've been incredibly kind to us, and the way that they have prepared our little getaways. This is the second time that they've done this, and at the waterfront, which is right opposite the airport. And so that's their favourite hotel. Lucky people that they are. We just loved going there. But these are flights of wealth which are not real to us. And I've got to say, I'm quite overwhelmed at the opulence of such hotels. In fact, to be honest, though it seems to me that at first that they were expensive, when I look at what they actually prepare, it actually amazes me that they can do it for any amount of money. But anyway, that's that. I'll say a quick thank you to Roger and Bing. Thank you so much for the gifts, and Roger for committing me to about 3 months educational reading. Thank you very much. You'll be, let me see, well, not quite sure whether that's a kindness or a curse, but I've already started reading, and it's been really wonderful. Thank you so much. So what was the other purpose that we combined? And the other purpose that we combined was to get Nani for an ultrasound. Now, once she went to an ultrasound, she was then routed on to a urologist, as I was. So let's deal with Nani and get that out of the way, because hers is a fairly simple case. She was advised to stay off the salty food. Oh my goodness, who'd have thought that they would be suggesting that salty food and not too much rice, more veggies, which she'll be joining us, I hope. Maybe this will be the final thing that will persuade her that perhaps she should be listening about changing her diet. For a long time, in spite of everything, she still insisted on having the salty fish and a lot of rice. Boy, Nani can eat rice. If you could see it, it is amazing how much rice she can shift. But that's her culture, and that's her beliefs, and her belief is that a person should eat a lot of rice. So, try to lead a stressful life. Now this one's interesting because the urologist doctor, the specialist that we both went to see, had much the same suggestion to both of us, and that stress can play a part in deciding the kind of quality of life that you have, which is very much like we've all been told of late. It seems to be a modern piece of advice that how you think influences your future. The way that you're thinking today influences the kind of life that you're going to have tomorrow. So therefore, following it logically, the life that you're having today is a result, a lot of the result has been, the blame can be blamed on the past. how we've been thinking and behaving in the past is also there and instrumental in giving us problems in the present. And if we don't change the way that we think, then the likelihood is that we will still be having the same problems tomorrow. Tomorrow being anything that follows today. So it's not just tomorrow as, say, in our case, Saturday. So it's not going to happen on Saturday and quit on Sunday. You need to do some long-term thinking, rethinking, in order to change your life. So that's what Nana is going to have to be doing. She's going to have to, well, there was a contradiction between the specialist that we saw yesterday and the doctor in Taliban. The doctor in Taliban said that the kidney was at fault, and that's why there were pains. That's why Nana had high blood pressure, and then she would follow on with a fever and get the headaches. The urologist tended to keep more onto, let's just change the way that we think and that we eat, and then try to stress less about what's happening in order to be able to start relaxing about things and creating a better tomorrow. Now on to me. Now this will be of interest to people who are considering the in vitro, and that's why I want to deal with what was told. Now we went to the in vitro clinic and they did some tests. They took a specimen of semen, and then from that they made their recommendations. So we have a lot of, we have a lot of vitamins, okay? So there's a ton of those, and we've been taking those religiously, both Beth and I, individually, differently. So we did have a question from someone who said, what were the vitamins? And I've got to tell you, it's no point in my telling you what I had to take or what Beth had to take, because it's an individual thing, and you need to have the tests in order to be able for them to decide what you're deficient in. So not everyone is deficient in the same vitamin that I'm deficient in, okay? For many reasons. My age will be different to yours, the way that I live will be different to yours, and my body makeup. Maybe you're a smoker, I've never been a smoker. Maybe you're a drinker, I've never really been interested in drinking. And maybe you are someone who has led a very strenuous life in construction, which I've had certainly some of that, but I've maintained a different kind of life. I'm not a couch potato, never really have been, and who knows, you may have led a sedentary life, or you may be super fit, so therefore you will need less of the vitamins that I'm on. And so you really need to go in and have some tests done and then get some recommendations and stick to those recommendations, which is what we've done. Now on to the urologist. Now the recommendation of the in vitro clinic was that I should have an ultrasound, just the same as Nani. So I went, I had the ultrasound, and the results from the ultrasound were what we showed the urologist yesterday. Now I'm 79 years old, and the doctor told me that my prostate is also 79 years old. This was a revelation to me, of course. I hadn't really thought of it that way, and sorry, I can only be facetious about that. Yes, my everything in my body is 79 years old, and let's face it, if I was still under guarantee, I'd send myself back. So you got to make some changes in your life depending on your circumstances, which is what I've just been talking about. So you need to make some changes, and the changes that we had to make were in order to bring about a change in the semen. And so the urologist recommended that I should choose to stop stressing about the fact that I'm having some problems with the prostate. So I was guided to that by the Invitro clinic. It said, we think that maybe there's something there in the prostate which is stopping the production of semen. Now, here's the funny thing. The more that I questioned the doctor on, I thought that he was very humorous. I thought he had a good sense of humour, good bedside manner, and was very personal. And he said, well, you know, if you choose to stress about having a problem with the prostate, then it's going to be worse, and that's true, because it falls in line with the idea that as you think, so you will be. So it's got to stop being concerned and announcing, giving validation to the fact that I have some changes to make with the prostate. Now I've been told to use saw palmetto, which is also good for reducing the inflammation that naturally occurs after the age of about 50 and onwards, and you get a slight enlarging, a benign enlarging of the prostate. So that has to be attended to. Saw palmetto, which is a food additive that you can get, a vitamin, from I think from the saw palmetto tree, I think, if I'm not wrong, and that was one thing that you could take. Now I don't have access to that. I've tried to get access to other things which are just like B17, which is very, very strong, very strongly advised and recommended for preventing cancer, which I think we all have an interest in doing. So I need to do that. What I've been doing is I've been taking a large spoonful of honey in with quite a good, probably at least 2 spoonfuls of apple cider vinegar, and I put that, and we have a little water heater on our water dispenser, so we have the blue bottles that everybody has, and that's where we get our drinking water. It's purified water. So I go to that. It heats, not terrifically hot, right? It shouldn't be really, really hot, only below a certain temperature. But I put the cider vinegar in first with a big glob of honey. So whatever goes in terms of hot water is not as the same as if I was making a cup of coffee or a cup of tea. It's already going into quite a bit of cold liquid. So that's how I handle that. I hope it's correct. Now, I only make about so much as a drink in the bottom of a normal mug, a normal coffee mug, and that's what I make. Now that's a pretty good drink, actually. I don't find that hard to take at all, and I take that 2, maybe 3 times a day, and I found that it's actually quite pleasant. A little bit like taking lemon and honey. That was a very popular drink for me when I was singing, and if I got anything that approached a sore throat from singing too many songs the night before, then the next day I'd be heavy on the hot water, honey and lemon, and so that's how I would get over that, and I wouldn't do very much talking that way, which was a big challenge for me. So that's what I've been doing, and I told the doc about that, and he said that's good, you just keep doing that if it works for you. So it was very validating. Now, but here's the piece of information which you guys who are thinking about in vitro will actually want to consider. I noticed when we were there at the hospital that we went to in Cebu, I noticed a big announcement on one of the posters saying that they now had a new treatment for the prostate and for reducing the inflammation in the prostate. Now, at one time it used to be on the knife, and now it's not. It's almost like it's an outpatient's thing. So what you do is you go in there, and they'll go in through the front, just above your bits and pieces, and that's where they get to the prostate. And what they do is they use a laser. So they can go in, non-invasive, it's not hugely painful, not something that you want to do as a habit for pleasure, but it's not that bad. And I'm thinking that they must use some kind of, I didn't ask him this, but I'm thinking that there must be some kind of local anesthetic that they put there to freeze the area. And then they can use the laser, and they can chip away at, yes honey, they can chip away at the surrounding prostate that's affecting the flow from the bladder. And this also affects the, sorry, can you point that some other way, please? So, yeah, there's a close-up of Golden's butt, which I know that you've been begging me to feature. Yes, okay. So what they do is they go in, and they can take away enough of the material that is like this, like I showed you before. Let's say that this is coming down, and that's what you're going to ejaculate through for you guys that are on the Invitro and trying to improve the flow of the semen, and simplify the flow of urine so that you're not up 5 times or 6 times a night. When you get that swelling which starts to restrict, yes, does this have to take place right now? So it's also restricting everything. It's restricting, I'm getting my ear bitten now, it's restricting the flow of urine, which is why you can't evacuate all of the urine that you need to when you go to the toilet. So like 5 minutes later you're feeling that you never went, which is the curse of the older man. So the big advantage, the pluses are that when they take away this material, then it reduces the pressure. Now I said, well, are there any downside? Is there any downside to this? Because it sounds very good. You don't have a lot of bleeding. You walk out without limping, I take it, that same day. It's very expensive, I found. So you have to think twice about it. You know, are you going to go for that at a colossal expense? I think it was about 150,000 pesos. Now, the doctor said, not that it matters now because I wouldn't take that treatment, but he said about 49,000 of that, let's call it 50,000 of that, would be by Healt if you're already insured as well as a dependent through your wife. Now, I'm not sure that that's true, so don't take that as gospel, because I heard some time ago that I had to have my own Healt, that I couldn't go as a dependent of Beth. So you need to check up on that at the source. Now, so in other words, the treatment itself would be about 100,000, and there'd be the 50,000 that would have to come, that would be met, promise, would be met by Healt. Not sure about that. There must be a whack out there. Let me wait for a moment.